I am AI Avatar of CA Ratan Mundra. If you are managing or involved in IFSC fund structures, this update is something you cannot afford to ignore. A new circular has been issued that directly impacts governance, compliance, and how responsibilities are structured within schemes. This is not just a procedural update, it is a structural shift. It introduces a clear expectation: fiduciary roles must remain independent. And with an immediate effect and a strict compliance deadline of 30th September 2026, organizations must act quickly. This video will break down what this means, why it matters, and what you should do next. The foundation of this circular lies in Regulation 17 of the IFSCA Fund Management Regulations 2025. This regulation mandates the appointment of fiduciaries depending on the structure of the scheme. For example, a trust requires trustees, a company requires directors, and an LLP requires designated partners. These fiduciaries are not just symbolic roles, they carry significant responsibility. They are expected to act with due diligence, exercise proper care, and maintain independent professional judgment at all times. The circular reinforces these expectations and builds upon them. The central clarification is very clear and direct. A fiduciary appointed to a scheme cannot also provide certain services to that same scheme. These services include fund administration, valuation, audit, and lending or financing. This restriction applies not only to direct involvement but also extends to associates. This means even indirect relationships or group entities fall under scrutiny. The intent is to enforce strict separation between oversight and operational roles, ensuring that fiduciaries remain unbiased and independent. Let's clearly understand the four key functions that are restricted. First, fund administration, which includes operational handling and record maintenance. Second, valuation, which determines the financial worth of assets. Third, audit, which ensures compliance and accuracy. And fourth, lending or financing services. If a fiduciary is involved in any of these roles for the same scheme, it creates a conflict of interest. The circular strictly prohibits this overlap to maintain governance integrity. This clarification is not just a rule, it is a governance transformation. It ensures that decision-making remains unbiased. By separating fiduciary roles from operational functions, it reduces the risk of conflicts of interest. It also enhances accountability because each role is clearly defined. Most importantly, it strengthens oversight. Fiduciaries are expected to supervise and protect investor interests, and this can only happen if they remain independent from execution roles. This circular impacts a wide range of stakeholders. Fund management entities must review their structures. Fiduciaries need to reassess their roles. Service providers like administrators, valuers, auditors, and financiers must ensure they are not overlapping with fiduciary functions. Additionally, associate entities become highly relevant because the restriction applies to them as well. This makes the compliance scope much broader than it may initially appear. One of the most critical aspects of this circular is the inclusion of the phrase "through associates." This means the regulation goes beyond direct appointments. Even if a fiduciary is not directly providing a service, but an associated entity is, it still violates the rule. This brings group structures and corporate relationships into focus. Organizations must now map all their associations carefully to identify hidden conflicts. For existing schemes that are already on record or have been filed, there is a transition period. However, this is not an exemption. It is a window to comply. All such schemes must align with the new requirements by 30th September 2026. This means organizations must review their current structures, identify conflicts, and make necessary changes within this timeline. Although existing schemes have time to comply, the circular itself is effective immediately. This means any new structures or decisions must follow this rule right away. Organizations cannot delay their response. The best approach is to start reviewing all schemes immediately, assess risks, and plan compliance actions systematically. The message from this circular is simple but powerful. Independence in governance is now a clearly enforced expectation. Organizations must review every scheme, map fiduciaries and service providers, and identify overlaps. Early action is critical because restructuring takes time. By acting now, you not only ensure compliance but also strengthen your governance framework. The goal is not just to meet regulations, but to build a more transparent, accountable, and robust system. Moonses and Management Consultants LLP, a trusted partner for SEZ and IFSC excellence, a pioneer in establishing SEZ and IFSC units within GIFT City and India, delivering end-to-end IFSC setup. Operational support and handling complaints, risk management renowned for deep expertise in regulatory approvals, capital markets, fund management, insurance, finance company, foreign university BAT, and ancillary regulations and fintech, expertise in customs clearance for aircraft and ship procurement, leasing, GST, DSPF, IFSCA comprehensive support covering registration, reporting, and regulatory transitions, ensuring ring fencing, transparency, and global compliance standards. Join our network, scan the QR codes below to stay connected with us.